Lue Elizondo claims that senior members of AARO were trying to prosecute UFO whistleblower David Grusch for going public. Now, he was told this some time ago. This was a tweet that he put out yesterday, and I find it absolutely game-changing. So let's dive into this and an article from The Hill that adds some context. If you're new to the channel, y'all, and you like content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I put out a new video every day, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. I do not miss a day. And please hit that like button, vetters. That really helps out the videos, so thank y'all so much for the support there. And, of course, comment down below. What do you think about Lue Elizondo's tweet and this story about AARO potentially trying to prosecute David Grusch for going public? Right? Let's dive in, y'all. All right, first thing we're going to look at is this tweet. Right here from Lue Elizondo. It says, I encourage everyone to read this article carefully. It succinctly illustrates the distrust of AARO's former leadership. I was told some time ago that senior elements in AARO were trying to have Dave prosecuted for going public. And the Pentagon wonders why people don't trust them. Trust works both ways. I agree 100% with this. And this is a game changer, if you ask me. Right, about David Grusch and why he hasn't wanted to speak with AARO. I wouldn't either, right? If this wasn't true, I don't think Lue Elizondo would put this out. Now let's kind of break down this tweet a little bit. We'll get a little nitpicky, only because we have to. These are very strong allegations, right? Senior elements in AARO. What does that mean? Elements. Why didn't he say senior leadership? Does he mean this sort of core group behind Sean Kirkpatrick, right? Which he won't name, right? This group that's sort of leading AARO without leading AARO, unofficially, officially, right? And he won't name the names. He was asked about it in the interview he did with Stephen Greenstreet. Is this who Lue Elizondo is talking about? What does he mean by senior elements? Are we talking leadership or what? And Dave prosecuted for going public. What law were they going to reference, right? And going public, meaning that he testified or he did his News Nation interview or what? Because everything he said was approved by DOPSR. Right, the Department of Pre-Publication Review or whatever, right? He had all of that. He was told it was cool. So I don't know what exactly law that they were looking to see that he broke. And that's interesting, right? That is interesting, game changer. It totally, if David Grusch was aware of that, it totally makes sense why he just didn't want to have a meeting with them. He didn't trust them on multiple levels. One, they're trying to put him in jail, right? Maybe he thought, oh, if I go talk to them, they're going to use that then against me, which it sounds like they would have. So I also would not have sat down with AARO. It's not like Dave Grusch has ignored everybody. He has sat down with the Inspector General, right? He has sat down with our own government to give his investigation, right? And the Inspector General said it was urgent and credible, right? I think AARO just feels left out, maybe. But the fact that they're trying to go after Dave Grusch, it would be interesting to hear AARO's response to this. And if Stephen Greenstreet would have known about this, to then ask Sean Kirkpatrick. Because it says some time ago, which in my opinion sounds like, right, and he also starts with, it succinctly illustrates the distrust of AARO's former leadership. So Sean Kirkpatrick, who retired at the end of last year in 2023. We have a new director of AARO. So it sounds like he's talking about Sean Kirkpatrick when he ran AARO, right? And I got to say, this is a game changer. If this is true, which I do believe it to be true, this is a game changer, y'all. I just don't see how it isn't, right? And I found out about this yesterday on the live stream yesterday. I thought we've got to cover this because this is a total game changer, all right? So let's go over this article, all right? I put it in a different format here. You can see, okay, it's from the Hill. This is just easier to read. And this is the article that Lue Elizondo is referencing. He puts a link to it. So let's read it. Top senators believe the U.S. secretly recovered UFOs. You see that headline, you're like, what? Who are they talking about? Well, let's see. Has the U.S. government secretly retrieved exotic craft of non-human origin? Newly declassified documents, along with extraordinary legislation, illustrate how two successive Democratic Senate majority leaders appeared to have believed so. Notably, Senator Chuck Schumer, a Democrat from New York, and the late Senator Harry Reid, Democrat from Nevada, were not alone in their focus on UFOs. The Democratic heavyweights received critical support and encouragement from a bipartisan group of high-profile senators over the years, including former fighter pilot and famed astronaut John Glenn, a Democrat from Ohio, Ted Stevens, Republican from Alaska, who observed a UFO as a World War II pilot, and Daniel Inouye, Democrat from Hawaii, then chairman of the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Defense, and the 2008 GOP presidential nominee, Senator John McCain, Senate Intelligence Vice Chairman Mark Rubio, Republican from Florida, Kristen Gillibrand, Democrat from New York, and Joe Lieberman, a Democrat from Connecticut. In late 2011, for example, the top scientist at the Department of Homeland Security met with Lieberman, then chairman of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, and Reid, Senator Harry Reid, to discuss the establishment of an ultra-secret UFO program. Now, they're talking about this woman right here, Tara O'Toole. All right, she is the one that wanted to start an ultra-secret UFO program, right? And that's back in 2011, y'all. All right, and that's who they're talking about. The top scientists at the Department of Homeland Security. As outlined in remarkable detail in newly released documents, the intent of the proposed program was to gain access to and inventory UFOs secretly under investigation in national laboratories, government organizations, and or contractors. From there, the program would engage in laboratory experimentation and scientific investigation to foster technology exploitation of the recovered materials. In short, Reid and Lieberman were advocating with some sense of urgency for the establishment of a formal UFO reverse engineering program. Holy shiza. Wow. This is insane, y'all. Right? This is a great article. Notably, the Reid and Lieberman-backed proposal included an oral history initiative to interview a pre-identified list of retired, previously highly placed government, armed services, contractor, and intelligence community individuals with knowledge of the location of advanced aerospace technology and biological samples. Even though the Department of Homeland Security's top scientist was advocating for the establishment of the UFO program and the very serious science involved with it, department leadership ultimately quashed the proposal in late 2011. Again, we're talking about this woman right here. More recently, Schumer and a bipartisan group of 5 other senators introduced extraordinary legislation alleging the existence of serendipitous legacy programs, that retrieve and seek to reverse engineer UFOs of non-human origin. In eyebrow-raising comments on the Senate floor, Schumer said the government has gathered a great deal of information about UFOs over many decades, but has refused to share it with the American people. Critically, according to Schumer, multiple credible sources have alleged that elements of the U.S. government have withheld UFO-related information from Congress illegally. Although a key House lawmaker successfully stripped the most extraordinary elements of the Schumer-led legislation, Schumer and the legislation's principal co-sponsor, Senator Mike Rounds, vowed to keep working to change the status quo. The core elements of Schumer and Rounds' stunning legislation match the allegations of Air Force veteran and former intelligence official David Grusch, who testified under oath to the existence of a UFO retrieval and reverse engineering efforts not subject to congressional oversight. Separate legislation sponsored by Rubio and Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committee member Gillibrand cuts off funding for illicit UFO programs. Language accompanying the legislation outlines in remarkable detail the various elements that such a program would entail, including UFO retrieval procedures, scientific analysis, reverse engineering, and security and counterintelligence efforts. President Biden signed Gillibrand and Rubio's legislation into law in December, right? That's the UAP Act or whatever that was talked about for so long, and it got gutted, right? I'm sure these are just some key words you might have heard to help jog your memory of what we're talking about here. Let's continue. In January of this year, Sean Kirkpatrick, the former director of the Pentagon's UFO Analysis Office, AARO, talking about AARO, as we mentioned earlier, embarked on an unusual media tour to pour cold water on the swirling allegations of secret, unreported UFO programs. But Kirkpatrick's public commentary appears to have little effect on Capitol Hill. In March, rounds indicated twice that the extraordinary Schumer-led legislation alleging the existence of unreported UFO programs would be reintroduced this year. As I've been stating on this show for months now, they're going to try again. Of course, they do with any piece of legislation. They're going to keep trying. So that's good to know that they're going to try to do it again this year and reintroduce it and maybe get everything they want, right? Asked on May 2nd whether a 63-page Pentagon report categorically denying the existence of illicit UFO efforts is case closed, Gillibrand stated, it's definitely not case closed. Let me read that again. Asked on May 2nd whether a 63-page Pentagon report categorically denying the existence of illicit UFO efforts is case closed, Gillibrand stated, it's definitely not case closed. They're talking about the AARO historical report, and there will be a part 2, right? Gillibrand noted that 2 knowledgeable individuals with whom she has met refused to meet with Kirkpatrick or his office. These whistleblowers' hesitations may be well-founded. In recent months, the Pentagon's UFO Office, AARO, has lost much of its credibility following a series of flawed and deeply misleading reports. Crucially, another set of newly released documents indicates that high-level current and former officials with apparent knowledge of illicit UFO programs refused to meet with Kirkpatrick. In a June 2023 interview with News Nation, Rubio made a series of startling UFO-related comments. According to Rubio, smart, educated people with high clearances and very important positions in our government have informed Congress of the existence of secret UFO programs. Wow. As the documents reveal, Kirkpatrick was taken by surprise by Rubio's comments. A Senate Intelligence Committee staffer subsequently informed Kirkpatrick that the senior officials described by Rubio were among those who refused to speak to his office. That's interesting, right? So the people that Rubio spoke about in that interview are the same people that told Gillibrand, right, that know her, that just refused to go to AARO, right, and speak with them. And they're clearly not just anybody. So that's very telling, right? As Christopher Mellon, the Department of Defense's former top civilian intelligence official, notes, many UFO whistleblowers do not trust the Pentagon process, preferring to speak to Congress and the intelligence community's internal watchdog instead. I don't see any problem with that. I really don't. What does it matter? If that's who they feel comfortable speaking with, then that's where they should go. This puts the Pentagon in a particularly awkward situation. If the director of the UFO office was aware that high-level officials alleging the existence of unreported UFO programs refused to speak with him, how can he and his office credibly issue sweeping denials that such programs exist? I agree. Why not just leave it as, we don't know yet, the investigation is ongoing? But instead, they did put out a definitive, nope, it's not happening. It's just a small group of people playing telephone and talking about stuff. definitively. Like, that's what it is, 100%. Okay, come on. I agree with that statement. And another fascinating... Oh, no, I missed one part. Moreover, in response to the government's blanket denials regarding the possession of off-world technology, Mellon recently posted a 2020 exchange describing how a senior government official uncovered the management structure and security control systems of a UFO retrieval program. The official also claimed to have identified the gatekeeper controlling access to the Air Force's secret UFO efforts. Now, there was more to those comments that Mellon expanded on, right? He later claimed that that same person told him he was not in the group, he was mistaken, blah, blah, blah. So it's hard to take that particular, those comments any other way. I don't know. You know, it's just weird. He sends Mellon these comments and then later says, well, I'm not even in the program, actually, when he was claiming to be. So it's a little weird. Those comments were a little weird for me. Anyway, and another fascinating twist, Kirkpatrick told Mellon that the Department of Justice is in possession of Grusch's whistleblower complaint alleging the existence of illegal UFO programs since it's part of a criminal investigation. Agency watchdogs like the one that received Grusch's complaint typically involve the Justice Department when allegations of criminal activity are substantiated. Does this imply that UFO-related criminal charges could at some point be on offer? Yeah, it does, right? Merrick von Rennenkampf served as an analyst with the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of International Security and Non-Proliferation, as well as an Obama administration appointee at the U.S. Department of Defense. And that's who wrote this article that we just read. So I got to admit, I enjoyed it. It's a great article. Again, game changer from Lue Elizondo, if that's true, about senior elements within AARO. Again, the Pentagon's UFO office, the same office that in this article that they're talking about can't be trusted. They're trying to go after David Grusch for going public, right? Again, would be interesting to hear AARO's response to that and what law they were trying to use against David Grusch, or laws, right? Because you have to prosecute on what? On what basis? Going public, is that a legal term? I don't think it is. So what would be the actual reason that they're looking at? And it is shady, right? And who are these people that don't want to go to AARO, right? That Marco Rubio is talking about. It's very interesting. I mean, you know, this story just always keeps unfolding. Just when you want to call... It works both ways. It's like just when you want to be like, oh, this is all bullshit. Stuff like this happens. And you're like, maybe not. Right? And then other times stuff happens. You're like, yeah, it's all bullshit. Right? It's like both happen. But this is one of those moments where it's like, I don't know if it's all bullshit, man. Right? This is interesting stuff. You know? We've got to look objectively at this, and this is one of those times to say, yeah, there's definitely more going on. I'm sorry, but we can't just sweep this away and be like, well, AARO said there's nothing going on, so let's just move on. No, not at all. There's too many other people, highly qualified people, that are saying otherwise. So, yes, we need to keep looking into this. And we need a place for these whistleblowers to go if that's what they are. Right? So, yeah, it's not like these people are ignoring. They're going. They're just going to where, you know, the watchdogs, the agency watchdogs, Congress, right? So they are talking to our government. So, right, they just don't want to talk to AARO. And I get it, honestly. Honestly, from hearing how they took some of the testimony of some of the people who came forward with story, like, I wouldn't go to them either. Right? I mean, they just doesn't sound like they take it very seriously. And then willing to release reports that are so definitive for no reason. Right? So, because that's not in the report. that certain senior government officials refuse to talk to them and have knowledge. That's not included. So, and then you put together the Kirkpatrick interview with Greenstreet, right? Like, I just smell some BS out here. I'm not saying there's UFOs and all that. I'm just saying I smell some BS right now happening. And we cannot ignore that. You can't ignore the BS either way, right? If you have someone telling a story, that's BS. And then you have AARO, I mean, you know what I mean? That's also BS. Like, BS is BS, wherever it comes from. And this stuff from AARO is BS. And if they were going after David Grusch, again, that is a game changer. That totally changes the dynamic of David Grusch's relationship with AARO and Kirkpatrick, and they're sort of back and forth in the public eye about meeting and not meeting and why and all this stuff, right? I get it. If that's true, if they were trying to prosecute him, why would you go in and talk to them like that? Right? They're clearly not on your side and looking for you to any little mix-up that they can put you in jail for. Like, that's horrible. Well, what are we doing to our service members? Right? The way we treat our service members in this country is kind of downright disgusting, if I'm being honest with you. It really is. We ask people to go fight, and then when they come back, we treat them like total dog shit. Now, that doesn't mean every military service member is the most upstanding citizen ever. They're not. Okay? I've had family in the military, friends. I promise you, not everyone's a great guy. It doesn't matter what the thing is, what the position is or industry. There's going to be good and bad people within it. That's the same with the military. There are people in the military who lie. There are people in the military who don't lie. Right? It's all a little bit of everything. But with that said, I do think someone who has served deserves the benefit of the doubt first, at least just to be heard. And then past that, okay, we got to start treating you like everyone else, right? But yes, they at least deserve to be heard, a seat at the table. Doesn't mean they don't need to be questioned or their details scrutinized, but definitely to be heard. So I'm curious to read all the comments about this, what people are going to say, knowing that some of these top senators were also interested in this, and that it goes back so much further than we think, right? Other scientists, senators that we had no idea. There's way more people under the iceberg here who are not public, who do support us looking into this, us starting offices, do believe we do have this crap, just don't want to come out publicly. This article completely proves that, right? And you have top senators, right? A lot of those names were like, I mean, holy cow, right? Wanting to get behind this and support. I mean, what are we talking about? And if we are going to have an office like AARO, they need to be trusted. But see, AARO's problem is they want to do the whole Hynek thing, right? Just put out this report like, nope, nothing to see here. You can't, definitive statements either way are not working right now. That's not how we get to the bottom of this. It's okay to be like, well, we just don't know. It's possible. What's wrong with that? Let's keep digging. Let's keep looking. Right? Because I think AARO's office is just set up to, try to identify what UAPs are instead of, let's set up a system to monitor. Right? Try to identify, okay, yes, I get that. But that's like their only thing is to like just dismiss all this. It seems like that's AARO's only objective. Just dismiss it all. I mean, listen to Sean Kirkpatrick's comments during his interview with Stephen Greenstreet and other comments he's made. He doesn't think there's anything here. He thinks it's all nonsense. So he's starting with that mindset. Now, personally, he could have beliefs, but professionally, he needs to have other beliefs or lack thereof professionally, because you're working for the government. So put your personal beliefs aside and do the investigation objectively. You can have your own personal beliefs. No problem. That can't be taken away from them. But those bleeding into you doing your work for the taxpayer, not good. Not a good look. And again, nothing against Sean Kirkpatrick, but I just don't see him as very objective. And I don't see him on this journey for the truth. I just saw him on a journey for the truth he already believed before he started. You know? And we just don't need that. Regardless of how silly or innocuous, Kirkpatrick thinks it is, it doesn't matter. You need to be objective. You need to do the investigation in a way that is reflective of objectivity. And all the people in AARO as well. And nothing against them. They're duty to our country. They're serving, right? But when you have leadership, a lot of it stems from leadership. And when you have leadership that thinks like that, it stems down to the rest of everyone else. So not to take away from any of their work, and no disrespect to them. And of course, they should not be attacked personally or their family harassed, showing up at their house. I mean, that stuff is insane. Okay? Anyone going after Sean Kirkpatrick and his family, like, get out of here. I don't care what you're saying. I don't care what you believe. I don't care. That's wrong. That's a line crossed. Doesn't matter if it's Sean Kirkpatrick, David Grusch, Lue Elizondo, whoever, Chris Mellon. It doesn't matter who we don't take it that far. You lose all credibility in my eyes when you do that. Just not a fan of that stuff. People will change Kirkpatrick's name, call him whatever they call him, something else, or it's just weird stuff. Like I'm me personally, everyone else do what they want, but me personally, I just don't see the point in that. Right? Even for Sean Kirkpatrick, even as much as you disagree with him, and I do too. I just said what I said. But I'm not going to attack him personally or make fun of his name or whatever the stupid things are. And that goes for Grusch. That goes for everybody. Right? Now, all in good fun. Right? We can laugh. We can have jokes. But at the end of the day, where do you stand with this? Right? We should not be attacking people's families. Taking a joke that maybe goes too far. Okay. I get it. But there are clear lines. People are threatening him and his family. I don't care if you think disclosure is, coming. I don't care if you think he's hiding the biggest secret in humanity. I don't care about any of that. What good does it do to uncover the secret to humanity if we do it that way? The ends do not justify the means. They just don't. Otherwise, what's the point of the means? Right? What's the point if we get there and we look back at the rubble we left behind to get to disclosure? We'd be ashamed of ourselves. And we're trying to look up to this advanced civilization. I mean, a lot of people should be ashamed of how they act and the things that they say online and to other people in this community and how they attack them. It's reprehensible. Again, however you feel about these people. If you're not a fan of Grusch and you think he's a grifter, okay. Keep it civil, respectful, disagree with his statements. So why do we need to attack him personally? And if you disagree with Sean Kirkpatrick, attack his statements, how he conducts running the office. But why make fun of him, his name, his face, his looks, his family? What's the point? I don't understand that. What's the end goal? Right? We're adults. Let's act like it. We're not going to get anywhere if that's how we act. And it's hard for people to take your opinion seriously if you say things like that, right? Because me, anyway, I see something like that and I go, well, any opinion you have is kind of lost sometimes, you know. But again, look, we all push the envelope and want to make jokes, and I'm sure most of it is in good fun to some extent. But clearly, let's be real, there are lines being crossed. And you know, honestly, and the people that cross those lines aren't going to care what I'm saying right now. They're going to do it anyway. They don't care. And all we have to do is ignore those people and move on. Push them out, block them, deny them, right? They should have their own little place to go hang out and talk with each other and be mean to each other. Oh, they do Reddit. That's what, I'm just kidding. If you're a fan of Reddit, I get it. But yeah, look, if this is as serious as we think it is, right, then we need to treat it seriously in the sense that let's stick to the facts and the data and what, you know, people's claims that they make. It's okay to question all of that. You know, again, they're asking for tax dollars here. This is all about tax dollars and UFO program, right? Illegally spent money in Congress, more money that they want us to spend to develop these offices. Yeah, we get to ask questions. It's become political now. I hate to say it, but this is a political issue now. So take that how you will. Anyway, all right, guys, got a great episode for you tomorrow. Very excited about it. Look forward to it. I am sitting down with Christina Gomez, and I will release that interview / video, whatever you want to call it, tomorrow. That'll be Saturday's video. So look forward to that. And tonight on Christina's show, I will be on it as well. So make sure you check that out. Christina Gomez's YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description. So go see me tonight on that show. And then again, my conversation with her tomorrow on Vetted. It's called collaboration, y'all. And I like collaborating with a lot of other content creators in this field. I've done a lot of them, and I want to continue to do them. I really enjoy doing that, to be honest with you. So I'm happy for that. Again, it's all about just being professional and civil. You know, that's all it is. At the end of the day, we can't get anywhere if we don't start there. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I haven't ever crossed a line, because I'm sure I have. All right? None of us are perfect. But, you know, I've always thought this. Your standards should be so high you never meet them. That makes sense. You'll fail, but you'll fail the least. Right? All right, y'all. We'll see you on tomorrow's video. I will be in the Vetted After Party Discord, so join me there. Again, only Monday through Friday. And, yeah, look forward to seeing you guys there. Join us in the Vetted After Party Discord. Link in the description. Very easy to find. So we'll see you guys there. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. There's some balloons for you. Peace.